Hi, this is Rosemary from the Unfinished Lesson, and this is another Quick Win series. We're taking a look at Practice Made Fun. In our first video, we took a look at the client experience. Remember that our clients are the ones and our students are the ones that are actually dealing with practice during the week. So we need to make this an experience that's a positive one for them. If you haven't watched that video, hit pause, go down below, and make sure that you watch that video. In video 2, we're going to take a look at some of the possible resources that we can use to, again, make practice fun. We want to be proactive in terms of providing resources that are going to help our students, but also give us some balance. When we're talking about practice, I think sometimes we focus so much on that we have to be available for our students that we don't realize we can actually provide things that allow them to be independent so that we don't have to give up our personal time. And I'm a big proponent and that we need to support our clients and our students, but we need to do so in a way that doesn't infringe on the time that we have set aside for our life outside of work. Because as much as we love teaching, it's a job. It is a career, but there is much more to life than our job and our career. So how do we do this? Okay, well, one of the things that we want to do is keep things contained. So when we first moved into this house, our twins were 13 months old. And yes, it was a struggle getting things unpacked. It was a lot of work. It was so much work. And our basement basically was storage for about 3 years, because I just didn't have the time or the energy to be able to go unpacking all of that stuff. And to be honest, we didn't really have anywhere to put it. So as you can imagine, though, it meant that in our small living room, the boys' toys were there. You know, there was stuff for my husband and I that we do for our downtime. You know, when we had people over, it just got really cluttered. And it was hard to find things because they were in multiple areas. So what we want to do is keep things contained. And what this will look like in our studios will be different for each person. In my studio, I like using a binder system. I like a binder because everything is contained within it. Everything that my students will need to use that is in physical form can be there. And it also means that it's much less likely to go traveling around the house, because that does happen. So in terms of this, one of the things you can do is to provide a practice pouch. Now, I would recommend definitely go beyond just a pencil and an eraser. Now, the reason I say a pencil pouch is because it's contained. And I would actually take it a step further. When I've done practice pouches, I make sure that they have the 3 holes so that they can be put in a 3-ring binder. The idea here is that my students, when it's time for them to practice, when it's time for lesson, they grab the binder, they open it up, and they can go. I want it as simple as that. Now, pencils in particular and erasers have a tendency of walking away on their own. Have you heard this before? And then all of a sudden, it's 5 minutes of lesson time as your student is searching the entire house trying to find a pencil, or they're trying to find an eraser. It's not a great use of time. And if it happens every week, then we run the risk of parents feeling like the lessons aren't a good use of time. And when times get tough or times get stressful, guess what gets cut? Yeah, music lessons. And we don't want that. So having a binder, if you choose to use that system, with tabs to keep everything organized, and then a practice pouch is a great option. Now, what if you use things that are also digital? Using online storage. I'm going to link below to a video on that. And what we can do with online storage is so many things. Oh my goodness, so many things. I wish I had done this with my studio so many years ago. I am an online teacher now, but I used to be a traveling teacher. And actually before that, I was a teacher in the school system. And yeah, the online storage is fantastic because it means that I can provide things like backing tracks, links to tutorials or playthroughs, things that need to be printed because I'm not seeing them in person anymore. There's just so many things that I can add there that make practice time more fun and practical, which I'm going to get to in another video. And it works out really well, right? My students in our onboarding process, check the link below if you're like, I have no clue what onboarding is. I've talked about it in a previous video, so check that out. It is one of the best things you can do in your studio. But yeah, for online storage, just being able to spend that time going through it with your student that they can be independent during the week. I would also recommend an FAQ resource. So it's an easy place for parents and students to find information that helps them solve a problem. Okay. Why do we need this? Well, because if they don't know how to solve it, who are they contacting? Yeah. They're contacting me, they're contacting you. And chances are it's not going to be at a convenient time. It's going to be on the weekend when you're trying to have some downtime. It's going to be 10:30 at night. It's never going to be a good time. So we want these FAQs because we want to make it a lot easier for our students and their parents to solve whatever problems come up on their own in an easy way, right? We still want practice to be fun, but we don't want them having to wait for us to solve it for them. So here's a few things. If you are online, then maybe a tutorial on how to sign into whatever program you're using. What the best tech setup is, or, the camera angle. You can do things like what to bring to lessons. So if your students are coming to you, then what do they need to bring so that you're not constantly having to remind them of this? You already gave them a resource that reminds them, an easy checklist. You could do like when to contact your teacher. This one is a good one. Okay, so years ago, I worked as a center director for Sylvan Learning. And when I first started the job, I could not believe the phone calls I was getting. My teachers, who, by the way, fantastic teachers, really great, they would call me to say, I can't turn off the lights because I don't know where the light switches are. Or you have to come in immediately and because a parent wants to talk to you about something, like they won't be able to make lessons in a few weeks. No and no. I'm not going in at 9 o'clock at night when I already was in the office before 8 a.m. Just not doing it. So I had to talk to my teachers and give them ownership, right? And let them know when to contact me. We went through the entire building, like our section of the building, and I said, okay, let's go through. Where are all the light switches? Considering that, there was seasoned teachers there that knew where the light switches were, this should not have been something I ever got called about. But for whatever reason, I was getting that phone call. You're going to feel like that sometimes with your studio families. Why on earth are you contacting me about this? Right? Okay, well, we need to make sure that they know. Here's where you get information if this is what's happening. In terms of the when parents wanted to talk, training my teachers to say to them, not a problem, let me write down your name, your phone number, best time to reach you, and a message. And then Rosemary's going to call you tomorrow once she's back in the office. Do you see how I created a little balance there? I mean, because it was ridiculous. I couldn't even go to a yoga class when I first started. There was no way that I was going to give up all my free time for a job. And you shouldn't have to either. So for example, you can say, you know what, if you've gone through these other resources and you're really still struggling, absolutely send me a message and let them know your preferred method. And then also let them know when they can expect to hear back from you. If you don't want to answer a phone call or a text message or an email at 9 o'clock at night, you don't have to. They can wait till the next day. It will be fine. I'm giving you permission to do that. So in these FAQs, be really specific as to how they can solve it on their own. And if they really can't, then when do they let you know? When and how they can let you know what the problem is and when you will get back to them. In my studio, my clients know that chances are on the weekend, I will not get back to them. I will get back to them on Monday, but I'm probably not going to get back to them on the weekend. And you know what? They're okay with it. They understand that for me to be a great teacher to their kid, I need time for other things. I need time with my family. I need time for myself so that I can recharge and be the best teacher for their child that I possibly can be. And so they're okay with it. All right, so before you go on with the rest of your day, because I feel like I've given you a few ideas here in terms of proactive providing resources, and we kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole there on that last one. I would like you to write down a short list, not a long list, but a short list of things that may trip up your students or their parents at the start of a term, okay? And the reason I say a short list is you don't have to create everything all at once. If you're feeling like there's a lot that needs to change, start a spreadsheet, start writing them down, and then work on them slowly. You don't have to solve everything right away. So this first step is just to write down a short list of things that may trip up your students, because those are what you're going to start off with. And then I want you to write down next to each of those what you think you could provide that will help them solve it. It could be something as easy as a checklist. It could be something as easy as a quick video. It could be making sure that, whether it's video, whether it's written form, whether it's audio form, doesn't really matter. But something that's going to be quick to create, doesn't have to be fancy, that will help solve that problem so that you get balance in your life, but you still get that creativity in your studio. All right, I hope you have an incredible day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.